Hello, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Douglas Johnson. I am a certified yoga teacher at the advanced 500-hour level, and I'm also an ordained minister, musician, and kirtan artist. Today, I wanted to share with you a little bit about my experience with, I don't know what the right word is, service, or you could say work. But before I do that, I do want to thank everyone who makes these videos possible. This is a collaborative effort. I have a community of supporters who support me financially in doing this work on my Patreon page. So if you get value from this and you'd like to contribute, you can do so for as little as $1 a month. So check out the links below if you're interested. All right. So I'm not sure exactly what I want to say today, but this is coming from where I am currently in my experience and where I've been in the past. So there was a period when I first started teaching professionally. I had taught before, but never really as my main source of income. And I started teaching professionally, and I got very busy very quickly. And I got to the point where I was teaching 7 days a week. And I taught probably on average around 20 classes every week, but that would fluctuate some. And at one point I was teaching as many as 25 classes per week. Now, I'm not sure how much you know about teaching yoga, but when other yoga teachers hear this, their eyes bug out and they assume that it is a terrible thing and they never want to be in that situation. I've actually had yoga teachers tell me that. The irony is that I don't think I've ever been so fulfilled and so joyful as I was doing that. And this is what I wanted to touch on today, which is service. Now, teaching yoga and spirituality is the way that I have found, given my skill set, that I seem to be able to serve best, serve spirit, serve humanity, if you will. And this is just something I know. There may be other things that I could be doing, I just don't know what they are. When I surrendered after my second, you could say my second awakening, after that first awakening, I didn't let go completely. There was still enough ego there, and fear and future was left. But after that second awakening, I was just flattened like a pancake, and I was just wide open. And very quickly, you could say the hand of spirit, you can think of it as the hand of God. A lot of people are allergic to that word, so I tend to use it sparingly, but the hand of spirit moved me into the career that I'm in now. Now, this is a career I would have never, ever, 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 ever chosen for myself earlier on. It really took me getting completely flattened out to be open and willing to explore this as a career. And I had no idea that it would be so fulfilling. Now, an important point is if you find how you are meant to serve spirit or serve humanity or serve God, my experience of it is you get used up. And I've made videos about this in the past. You can go look on the channel and find previous videos. But basically, you get used up. You end your day or your week or whatever it is just really feeling exhausted, like you've been used up, that you don't really have more to give. And that might sound terrible. It's actually wonderful. It really is a wonderful feeling of that you gave everything that you had to give. And what you find is you give more than you think you can, what your ego tells you you can. Your ego is telling you how limited you are, how you can't do more, and yet you find yourself in service doing more than you ever imagined you could do, and growing in ways you never could have imagined. That's been my experience. Now, many of us don't experience our true calling or what it is that the best way that we can serve because we have jobs and we've sort of limited ourselves to our jobs. Many of us go into the world with this idea of, well, I need this lifestyle, and so I need to have this kind of a job. And I understand that. That makes a lot of sense in a conventional viewpoint. And again, as I've said, spiritual viewpoint has nothing to do with conventional viewpoint. So some people will be doing their calling or serving humanity, and those professions might produce a lot of income, and that's nice, that's wonderful. However, many people, if they truly were to listen to Spirit and surrender and find what their unique skill set is and how they can serve, they might find themselves not making very much money at all. I won't say living in poverty, but it may be a pretty humble lifestyle. And the suggestion I would make, and again, this is going to be perhaps difficult for some people to accept, but the suggestion I would make is that if you can surrender and find that thing that makes you feel the way I'm describing, where you're giving your all of your talents, all of your wisdom, all of your experience is being used in service, and you can feel that, you can really sense that. And you're feeling used up, but you also feel energized and excited. You don't feel used up in the sense of like you're worn out, okay? It's a very different kind of used up. It's almost like at the end of every day, you like, I gave everything I can give, and then the next day you wake up and you're ready to do it all over again. You're ready to give everything again. It's a very specific, unique thing, and the trouble, if you will, is that very few people experience that in their lives because, again, because of their work. They just go to work someplace and then that's it. And they make a good living and they assume that happiness, peace, joy will come from getting things like a house, a partner, a family, a nice car, a vacation home, a trip someplace, okay? And there's nothing wrong with getting any of those things. Again, this isn't about foregoing those things, but what I've found is if you can find your path, your calling, and you can't make enough money to do any of those things, you don't really care. You honestly really don't really care. Because if you can find your calling and you can serve with your unique makeup of gifts, then there is nothing more gratifying than that. That is the highest joy that I have experienced in life. And I have traveled internationally. I have experienced nice things. It's not like I've always gone without, but when I look at the contrast, much like the historical Buddha, who grew up as a prince, he had lots of nice things, but he realized that that doesn't satisfy him. And then he left and he got on a spiritual path and he pursued the spiritual path to its logical end. And he said, well, that doesn't satisfy me. And thus he came up with the middle way. I'm very much abbreviating this story, but it really makes a lot of sense if you think of it in that way. There are these kind of two extremes that the ego often is pursuing. One of success in the world, money, nice things, you know, the perfect Instagram, if you will. And then the other side is the sort of do without, holier than thou, spiritual, I don't need anything, right? I don't have nice things. I live in a cave. I have one set of clothing and I have one begging bowl and that's it. Okay, so again, a very extreme thing. And what Buddha discovered is neither of these really satisfy. Neither of these really get us to the ultimate truth. So the middle way. I don't really want to talk about the middle way today, but it's just an example of these two extremes. So most of us experience the extreme of stuff. Some people might have experienced extreme of, ascetic practices and maybe living in an ashram or trying to escape the world. But what's interesting in my experience is my intuitive sense, and I can only really speak for myself. I can't speak for everyone else or every spiritual seeker or community, but in my experience, there may have been a time when Spirit did call for people to leave the world and to leave possessions behind and to be still, primarily, to just be still and ground the spiritual roots, if you will, onto this plane of existence, for lack of a better, more eloquent way of putting it. But now that that has been done, my sense is that many people, and possibly you, are being called to be spiritual, but to actually take action, to actually live in the world, not to remove yourself from the world. Now, again, many of us will, when taking action, put emphasis on egoic things, making lots of money, getting famous, getting attention, whatever it might be. And it can be a subtle thing. It's not to say that if you're getting attention or you're getting money or you're getting success, that automatically means that you aren't driven by Spirit. But it's just a subtle shift of priorities. And you just have to be really honest with yourself. And my experience is if you can tune into that, and for me, it took me completely getting flattened out again. I hope it doesn't take that for you, but it might. I honestly don't know. The ego is a very persistent force, and it's very wily. It's very tricky. So, just saying, oh, that's a nice talk. Okay, I'll let go of everything. It may take more than that, unfortunately, but it may not. So I want to leave that possibility open to you. But however it comes about, if you can really let go of the steering wheel and have faith and trust and just allow things to unfold, then, without thinking about money or fame or success, you just sort of let your unique talents and experience guide you onto a path where people are asking, they're asking you to serve them, to help them. And you're not focused on, well, how much does it pay? And, am I going to be able to get that second house that I want or whatever it is? You're just focused on doing the best job that you can. And you get that feeling that I'm talking about of really being used up in a good way, that you gave everything that you could give that day, and you can relax at the end of the day feeling very, very satisfied. It's a really, really great feeling. And it's not coming from a place of lack. It's not coming from a place of, oh, I need to do this to make amends, or I need to do this to prove my worth. No, it's coming from a place of love and sharing. And so if you can find something like that, then I would say build your lifestyle around that. Rather than saying, well, I need to make this much money and I need 3 homes and all of this stuff. You just say, okay, where am I? What sort of income does this bring me? What kind of lifestyle does this bring me? And then from there, you can build your life. It may be a very humble life, but it might not be. But most of us do it the other way around. We think of all the things that we have to have, that we need, that we can't afford, and we chase after the money. And so we put service aside and we focus on the money side of it, or the acquisition of fame, or whatever it is it might be. My recommendation here, and again, this is just something that I've experienced a few times. I'm experiencing it right now too. You know, I got to the point where I really didn't personally want to teach more. You get to a certain point where you're like, well, you know, I like having my free time, but I've learned enough to know when it's time to surrender. And that is really the feeling that I got. And last week I picked up a couple more classes. Very busy week. I just had a retreat that I had led, so a lot going on. I have a kirtan this Sunday. I've been doing band rehearsals. So pretty much I work every day in one form or another. And I only have one day where I'm not actually scheduled to be somewhere to teach. So I'm teaching at a studio 6 days a week now, and often several times a day. And personally, again, like, I don't necessarily want to be that busy, right? I would love to have more free time to do what I want to do. But what I've found is I don't have that same feeling. That feeling is coming back as I get busier and as I am willing to serve and surrendering to that. So I hope today was something that maybe puts this on your radar. I don't know where you are in your path, and that might determine how relevant what I'm sharing is today. But for me, it's one of the most important things. It's really been a game changer for me, being willing and able to surrender enough so that I could be guided was very important, again. And I don't know what it will take for you. Maybe you're ready right now, but that was very important. Just really letting go of the steering wheel, not knowing what I should be doing, because I had had ideas up to that point of what I thought would make me happy, and it never made me happy. Okay, it never really satisfied. And once I got on the path I'm on now, and the profession I'm in now, then all of that went away. I just feel so much that I'm where I need to be, doing what I need to be doing. But I'd love to hear from you. Is this something that you have experienced in your own life? For many people, it's scary because, again, in America, we live, from my perspective, a rather lavish lifestyle. Most of us, we have a lot of material wealth in this country. Even what we consider middle class is quite lavish by standards of other places in the world and throughout history, human history. Humans didn't live with nearly the luxuries that we modern Western people have, even those of us who are in the lower segments of the earning bracket. So again, if we come to expect this, that we need 3 cars in the garage, we need a garage, we need a house, we need a second house, we need to be able to travel internationally. And again, there's nothing wrong with any of these things. As I said, when some people are serving because, for whatever reason, their skills are valued a lot by the society, they may end up making a lot of money, and that's not a problem necessarily. The problem is when we prioritize that over service, over using our particular gifts and skills to serve. And again, I cannot communicate enough how joyful and peaceful and wonderful that feels. And when I say service, it doesn't have to be you're volunteering, although it could be that. In yoga, we have seva, which is selfless service, which is a beautiful thing. But I found that even if you're getting paid to do something, because we do need to make a living in this world, very few of us can just serve without any kind of compensation. We wouldn't be serving for very long. You can try setting it up as a donation thing. That's what I've done here online with my patrons. They are the ones that donate and support this. They're not getting anything extra for doing that, other than perhaps good karma for helping out. But you can try and set things up that way. You may have varying amounts of success. But what I've experienced is that's not so important. It has more to do with, say, the teaching in the Gita, which is your dharma, finding your path, finding how you are to serve. In the Gita, Arjuna was a warrior, an archer, and Krishna is very clear that he is to do his duty, that he is not meant to back out of his duty. I know different people interpret that text in different ways, but I think that that is very relevant. And so whatever our duty is, and in our culture, we don't know what our duty is. You probably, in your heart of hearts, know. But again, you may be afraid to listen to that because you may be afraid you're not going to have the lifestyle that you think you need to be happy. But the whole point, wrapping up this talk, is that having lots of money, having things, having a big family, these things don't necessarily lead to happiness, not in a lasting sense. But serving, being on your path, this does, in my experience, like nothing else. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's talk. Until next time, namaste, and have a beautiful, beautiful day.